Let me see your hands.
New body camera video of a deadly police shooting will show you what that video reveals. And it's one of the busiest travel days of the year. What we're expecting with the weather, this is a live look from our DOT cameras. All is quiet this early Monday morning, but we're keeping an eye on those conditions for you.
Leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News this morning.
A very good morning to you at home. I'm JC Navarrete. Looks like the weather might be taking a turn for the worse as the day does go on. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. Now to a developing story. Milwaukee police released body camera video of a deadly officer-involved shooting. Now we want to note police edited this video before they sent it to us.
Let me see your hands! Get your hands up!
Officers shot and killed Alonzo Smith back in October in a parking lot near 101st and Bender. Now, in the video, an investigator described officers responding to a call for a man with a gun. And shots fired. The officers repeatedly yell at a man who was later identified as 31-year-old Alonzo Smith. In that video, it appears Smith fires at officers who returned fire. Smith died days later.
Is this him? Hey! Shots fired! Shots fired!
In total, between the two officers, police released about 2 minutes of that body cam footage that you can see right there. Now, the entire incident lasted nearly 10 minutes. Now, WISN has requested a copy of the entire video. Only on 12 News, dash cam video of a Thanksgiving dinner time chase and a crash in Wauwatosa. Now, it all started when an officer saw the driver speeding and illegally passed someone near 76 and Center. Witnesses say they heard a loud boom outside their windows. When they looked out, a man was running from officers into the darkness. Officers say that a pile of leaves and a tree actually stopped the car.
Looks like clearly some of those obstacles, whether it be the pile of leaves, some other parked cars, and again, just really the reckless manner and the high speed that the suspect was traveling, didn't afford him the ability to keep control of that car.
Police are still looking for the suspect, but we believe they've identified the owner of that car. Two Milwaukee men have been charged in connection to the murder of a 13-year-old girl. They are now awaiting their day in court. Isaac Barnes and Runthru Odin are in the county jail accused of the shooting death of Sandra Parks. Police say Barnes fired into Parks' house on 13th and Hopkins on Monday night. A bullet hit the girl as she was watching TV in her bedroom. According to the criminal complaint, officers found the two men hiding in a house just a few blocks away. And now to some shocking video that ended with a car into the Marquette women's basketball court. Take a look at this surveillance video from early yesterday morning. Now you can see that car right there speeding down the street and crashed through an arena door at the Al McGuire Center. Then the car backed up, get this, went into the building yet again. University police took the driver into custody on suspicion of drunk driving. No one was hurt, but the damage forced yesterday's Marquette's women's basketball game to move to the Five-Serve Forum. And today is the final day of gun deer season. So far, the DNR says hunters have brought in about 118,000 deer. That's up 13% from last year. All this despite a drop in the total amount of hunters. Now, while the main 9-day gun deer season ends today, muzzleloader season starts tomorrow. There's also another 2 antlerless deer hunts next month. And Packers fans, you're going to want to look away. The Packers lost in Minnesota late last night. Now, barring a miracle, the Green and Gold will miss the playoffs for a second straight season. The Packers scored first. Rodgers with a throw to Devontae Adams for a 15-yard touchdown, but things went downhill in the second half. The Vikings beat the Packers 24-17. And we were trying to get you a sound there with head coach Mike McCarthy. Now, next, the Packers will be taking on the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday afternoon at Lambeau Field. And the Packers weren't the only team taking a loss to a Minnesota team this weekend. For the first time since 2003, Paul Bunyan's Axe is going to Minnesota. The Badgers lost 37-15 yesterday. That's UW's worst loss to the Gophers since 1936. Quarterbacks Alex Hornibrook had 4 turnovers in his first game back from suffering a concussion. Well, WISN.
All right, well, first, JC, tell us a little bit about where you're from and a little bit about your background.
I'm 26 years old. I'm actually from Texas, but I have actually lived outside of the U.S. probably more than I've lived in the U.S. My dad was an FBI agent, so we moved around a lot. Got the chance to live in Guadalajara, El Salvador, in Central America. So been able to, be in a lot of interesting places, but I'm, glad to be back home and experiencing something new with this cold right here.
Where do you work now?
I work at KVIA, that is the ABC affiliate back in El Paso, Texas. And I've been working there for about 3 years. Started off as an intern. You wouldn't believe it. When I first started, my hair was down to my shoulders. Had a beard that resembled, something out of The Revenant right there. I'm sure there's a picture on Facebook somewhere. But yeah, I started off as an intern, been there for about 3 years.
Right.
I've been working my way up. I started off intern, MMJ, traffic anchor, and now noon anchor. So it's been a fun ride.
Well, very good. What's your first impression about Milwaukee?
It's cold.
Yeah.
But
and
very
this,
nice.
I was telling you, this is much colder than it normally is. This will be one for the record book. So I don't want you to think it's always like this in November.